Hey guys, good to be back this week. Good to have you. Now, this week the book is A Dance with Dragons. The show is the rest of season 5 and some of 6 of Game of Thrones. And we have 13 chapters on Jon Snow during his time as Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, working with the other Watchmen and the Wildlings, and hosting Stannis' camp, along with Davos Seaworth, Melisandre, Selyse, and Shireen, while they plan their attack on the Boltons, right up to the very end, with his chapters ending on the same cliffhanger in Season 5 when the angry Watchmen take turns stabbing him to death. There are 12 chapters on Tyrion, all covering his journey from King's Landing to Meereen, and he does eventually come in contact with Ser Jorah. But all of his chapters detail when he's traveling like royalty, then sold into slavery, and having to perform in mummer shows, performing such acts as jousting from the back of a pig. He never does make it all the way to Daenerys yet in this book series. Speaking of which, there are 10 chapters on Daenerys. While she's Queen of Meereen, she's married to his Dar Zolarak, and a character from Season 2 came to their wedding all the way from Karth. Xaro Zoan Doxos didn't get locked into an empty vault as punishment in the book. And, of course, while Daenerys is, politically married to his Dar, she is romantically involved with Daario Naharis. She does have to lock up her 2 less aggressive dragons when she's presented with the charred remains of a small child. But some of the cases she has to mitigate in the wake of her ending slavery are a little more interesting in the book. One of which being a former slave owner, wanting half of his former slaves' profits, since going into business for themselves after being freed. There is also no ambush by the Sons of the Harpy in the fighting pit. Daenerys hops on Drogon's back and flies him away from the arena because he swooped down and started cooking and eating the talent in front of everyone during a tournament. Her chapters end with her being found and captured by the Dothraki, just like in the show. There are 7 chapters on Theon Greyjoy, mostly during his tenure as Reek, the Bolton captive. And the details of the Bolton occupation of Winterfell are told from Reek's point of view. And while in the book, Ramsay doesn't geld Reek, he skins and cuts off several of his fingers and mails them to Pike, and he breaks several of his teeth, and starves him so bad that he resorts to eating live rats in the kennels only when he's guaranteed not to be caught. Ramsay doesn't marry Sansa Stark in the book. He marries an Arya Stark impersonator. And the details of what he subjects her to are very graphic. He breaks her spirit just as badly as he does Theon's, and without going into too much gory detail, he lets some of his dogs in on the action. There are 6 chapters on a member of House Martell who isn't even in the show. It's Quentyn Martell, and he's the only member of House Martell to go to Meereen looking for Daenerys. Only he shows up, he goes there after what happened to Oberyn, but he's a day late and dollar short because when he gets there, she's already disappeared with her dragon. Alright, 5 chapters on 2 different members of House Greyjoy. 3 on Asha, aka Yara. 2 on Victarion, as they go about their different plans for taking over the Iron Islands. In Asha's last chapter, she's observing a fire sacrifice ritual led by a fire priest on Pike when she is approached by Theon, who has escaped the Boltons and is definitely a lot more grey than Joy, and with him is an unnamed girl who is slightly disfigured by frostbite, who could be the Arya impersonator or Sansa. There are 4 chapters on Davos Seaworth, who in this book is on leave from Stannis' camp. and consulting with other small houses in the north who were Stark bannermen to join Stannis in bringing down the Bolton occupation. There are 3 chapters on Bran, mostly on his abilities as the Three-Eyed Raven to kind of remote his consciousness into the mind of his direwolf, and in his meeting with the Children of the Forest. There's also 3 chapters on Barristan Selmy, as he's left holding the bag in Meereen after Daenerys disappears on the back of Drogon. There's 2 chapters on Arya Stark, the real Arya Stark, still in Braavos, advancing in her training to be no one, and in these chapters it's her blind training, followed by her mastering disguises. There's 1 chapter on Jaime Lannister, still at River Run, trying to fight the Blackfish to get it back for House Frey. There's 1 chapter on Melisandre, attempting to give Jon Snow the same ritualistic counsel she gives to Stannis. And I saved the best for last. There are 2 chapters on Cersei. The first one being her time spent in the Sept dungeon. The second being a very graphic detail of the Walk of Atonement. As shocking as it is in the show, it's still watered down. In the books, the Septas don't just cut her hair down to a pixie that she can work with. No, they shave her entire self from head to toe down to the skin, because I guess being a furry hippie is cool among Westerosi high society. During the Walk of Atonement, while in the show the citizens only empty their chamber pots on her, they pelt her with roadkill in the books, so she's crawling with maggots by the time she reaches the Red Keep. And the citizens, they also make fun of her body, since the ravages of time and 3 pregnancies can't be undone by plastic surgery and core conditioning Pilates at this time. And that is it for A Dance with Dragons. But that is not all for A Song of Ice and Fire, or Game of Thrones for that matter. So, will Melisandre resurrect Jon Snow? Will House Greyjoy be a house divided, one side going with Daenerys, the other side going with Cersei? Will the Hound come back better than ever? Will Sansa come out of hiding and get Winterfell back? Will Cersei really blow up the Sept of Baelor to get out of trial? Will Stannis let Melisandre barbecue his only child? And what's going to happen to Tommen and Marjorie? Will Arya single-handedly defeat the Night King? And is Jon Snow really the last Targaryen in hiding? And of course, will Daenerys really piss away everything she worked her ass off for? The answer to all is because the next novel, The Winds of Winter, has not been released yet. As soon as I know the release date, I'm getting my hands on a copy, even if I have to fight someone for it. I've also read, mostly on social media, that a rewrite for the last season is on the drawing board. If that's true, I have just one request. Just once, can Grey Worm say, "Yes, we can"? Because he looks like Barack Obama, it would be amusing. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell to always catch my newest videos. And I'll see you back next week for Jurassic Park.